Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. People commented last week, after the show last week, and said, how come you said nothing about where you were broadcasting from last week? Well, now that tempers have cooled down, I can tell you what happened. All right. We made plans to do the road trips. We went to Boston and then we went to New York. And one of us made most of the accommodations for travel. Then one of us went and booked the return trip from New York. And I thought the price was right. I didn't understand what the word steerage meant. And once we got to our seat on the plane, EK was pissed. He was real mad. And I said, are we going to be able to do a show with you this pissed? And he's like, as long as you don't mention where we are and how you screwed up this hard. And I was like, all right. And we had big, long arguments about who makes the travel arrangements. Okay, fine. Sorry. So we're back in our studio. I got this new image that we got behind us. I'm just kidding. I know you're not idiots. I know you're not. I know you know what chroma key is. I know you know that I can download pictures of the Cheers bar and the bar, Central Perk. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not stupid. All right. It's just, but you see what I did? I created a lie. I created a lie to make everything more interesting. I just hope God doesn't hold it against me for bearing false witness. Oh, I hope he has a sense of humor. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I am your host, The Madman. I am a masculine-presenting trans lesbian. My pronouns are he, him. You can go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio, become a patron today. I would appreciate it. And you can be the person who gets the last patron pack, which has all the patron pack stuff and a special extra gift. The Madman Hates You puzzle. But it's not a real thing. I don't hate you. I love you. It's just a poorly designed puzzle, and I want to get rid of it. Got one more patron pack. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio, or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. Or you can follow me on social media over here. The Twitter thing is gone for the at DNALETSAW. That's Twitter, by the way. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter. Is that okay? Is there a way to fix it? Okay.
Yes, I'll find a way.
All right. Just kidding about EK and I arguing. It does happen from time to time, but I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the compliment you gave me last week after the show. You said, you really know when to shut up. And you remember...
I don't think I phrased it that way.
You didn't phrase it that way? Okay.
I don't think I phrased it that way.
Because after the show, you're like, I think it's astounding you make these 13 notes for the show, and it always comes out to be about 1 hour.
That sounds like what I said. Sounds like.
So it's like, and you know when to shut up. No, it was you know when to stop talking on a subject or something like that.
There you go.
But I took it as you know when to shut up, and I like that one better because I can't be the person who always knows the best thing to say. There's no way I can be that person. So the next best thing would be you know when to shut up. So, and I feel like I've talked about this way too long already. Thanks for the compliment, EK. I appreciate it. No problem. And I was thinking about playing games. You know, we're playing, been gaming pretty regularly every week. And, you know, some people when they play games, they want to win. And I don't know why they have that desire in them. But playing the game is far more important because people will say, oh, life is a game. It's like, life is a game, but it's more than one game. It's more like a series of games, you know? And so participating in the game, no matter what the game is always good, whether it's, you know, chess or Heroes Unlimited or flirting or, you know, talking to people, the stock market, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, it's more important to do it than win it. Look at my YouTube channel. All 206 subscribers? 207. I think I got another guy today or yesterday. But I don't want a billion. I don't want to be the most popular channel on YouTube. It'd be nice to be more popular, but I mean, I don't want that kind of attention. I really couldn't handle it. All the people, oh, you got horrible teeth. It's like, I know. How do you think I don't know that? And so, I'm happy having my little corner of the internet where I could talk about G.I. Joes and stuff like that and other weird stuff. So play the game. It's like Freddie Mercury said, and it's like, open up your mind and let me step inside. Rest your weary head and let your heart decide. It's so easy when you know the rules. It's so easy. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. Play the game. Play the game. Everybody play the game of love. I think he said it more eloquently. Makes more sense if you sing it, I suppose. All right. Let's go to a weird subject. Do you ever feel uncomfortable when strange children talk to you? I was thinking about how I went to the barbershop last time, and this kid came up and said, oh, you got this t-shirt. It says, you a YouTuber? And I'm like, yes, but I don't want to say anymore. And I was thinking about how, like, growing up in the 80s and 90s, when I was a young teenager, I always found it easier to talk to younger children because, I'm going to be honest, played with G.I. Joes and stuff till I was 16, 17 years old. All right, so think what you want about me. All you want, but you show up to a party or it's a big picnic or something like that, and I run across a 7-year-old kid who's playing with G.I. Joes in the dirt. I may go talk to him first if I don't know anybody at the party. Have a conversation about G.I. Joes, and that may lead to a conversation with somebody older, more in my age group, and so forth. And so, in many ways, it's easier to talk to children than it is to talk to intimidating adults. And so, but here I am, an adult. I'm pushing 50 here, and like once I became an adult, talking to children gets people like a little freaked out. I was thinking about that scene in Con Air where Steve Buscemi goes and has a tea party with that little girl, and they sing he's got the whole world in his hands. He's obviously a very bad man, but at the end of the day, he didn't do anything to that girl. And so I was thinking, children need a practice interaction with strangers. They need to, it helps socialize you in many ways. I remember being a kid, and I was like, my mom got to a point where, I can't do everything for you. You go to that pizza place if you want pizza so bad, and buy the slice of pizza and come back and sit with us. We're having Chinese. And I hate Chinese. So I mean, and I had to go to talk to strangers. I remember seeing a video on TikTok recently where this woman sent her son in to go to Wawa, pick up a couple things real quick, and 5, 6 years old or something, no, more like 7, 8. And he went in by himself to do it. And I think that's important. I understand that there's a lot of people who are trepidatious about strange adults talking to their children because of stranger danger and all that implies. But I think a lot of people are far too obsessively worried about that. Women obsessively worry about things, but I think when at some point you're denying your children the ability to I'm sorry for laughing, but I just saw that.
I got the X logo.
Okay.
See the logo?
Where? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's Twitter though, but I appreciate it. And so I think children need to be socialized, social in that way, and it's okay to do it around parents. But I mean, it's not even like I hang around playgrounds or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just like if you go to a party and there's some kids there, and you're like, I don't know any of these adults. I'm gonna have what's this little girl doing? She's like, oh, I'm having a tea party. You want some tea? I'm like, oh, okay. I'll sit down at the little kid's table. What kind of tea is this? And she's like, it's hot tea. And I was like, oh, excellent. And so she pours me a little cup of tea, and I'm sitting there. This is very good. It's incredibly hot. It is perfectly hot. And then some lady comes up and, excuse me, who are you? What are you talking to my daughter? And it's like, she offered me tea. And then I'm the crazy one for thinking there's actually tea at the table. All right. So she's like, get out of here, you're weirdo. And I'm like, thank you for the tea. And I walk away. I'm not saying that ever happened, but I bet it does happen. I think that there's an overprotection going on with kids. It's like, you need to let them get out a little bit and face a little bit of the danger in the world. Maybe it's just because I'm Generation X and every street in America in the 80s, by some people's opinion, had a van rolling down, giving out free candy to kids. But that's not what I remember. I don't remember that at all. I remember seeing my parents for a total of 4 hours throughout the entire summer. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, just a brief aside that may or may not creep you out. So, as you know, as you may or may not know, I've been on a bit of a G.I. Joe kick, been looking at G.I. Joe videos and G.I. Joe figures and so forth. And so I was thinking about the Steel Brigade. I think this is 87, maybe 86, 87, where was it Hasbro put out the Steel Brigade characters, where you could collect enough of the flag points off the back of G.I. Joes, and you sent them in. They'll send you a free action figure based upon you. And you had a little card you filled out about what kind of training you had, you know, what your code name was, and I cannot remember my code name for the life of me. And this is the biggest thing that's pissing me off about this whole subject. And it had a code name, your training, you could pick what weapon you had. I think they all came with the same backpack. Why did I think it was a different arm? I'm an idiot. But it also came with the badge. I wish I could even find the badge, you know, but they made this generic piece that, you know, gloves and it shows no skin, shows no face. You get to choose everything else, the weapon, the training, you know, your background, code name, and all of it. And you get a patch. They also sent you a printout. You have that other picture? Show them that briefly, where it was like, you took they had the holes on it. It had the like dot matrix printer holes on it.
Oh, you got those back in?
Because I was a dumbass back then and tore it off. And I was thinking, if I still had this card, I cannot find this thing. When they printed it out. And back in 86, 87, full color dot matrix printer, that's no joke. All right. And so, yeah, you pick up all the details. This guy picked Black Panther, which is awesome. And you pick out traits and abilities, and they write up little things for you. It was awesome. And so when I got that action figure, you can go back to the action figure. Kung Fu, Zen Sword. I probably picked the same things. And I looked through a couple different figures, and this was the gun that I chose for him. And bayoneted M203 grenade launcher. Probably couldn't shoot it very straight, but it was cool looking. You could do everything with it. And so I've been watching a couple G.I. Joe videos, and I start to understand that collectors will, like, since there's so many of these went out because they were basically free, and so many boys had G.I. Joes, and they went immediately to their closet and start ripping apart their Hasbro boxes to the action figures to collect those flag points to get a free custom figure. And so I think you had to pay shipping and handling. And so I find out that because, like so many people like me who loved G.I. Joe back in the day, I cannot find my G.I. Joes. They probably went on a yard sale while I was in the Navy or something, for all I know. Or even before that, before I went in the Navy. I don't want to blame. It'd be easier to blame my parents, I suppose. I may have sold them in a yard sale years ago. And collectors will use these guys as like cannon fodder for G.I. Joe. They're in the front, and so if they're making a diorama where a bunch of G.I. Joe, like Cobra gets a big hit, you know, there's an explosion, they'll put a bunch of these guys in there going, the Cobra gas, with my helmet on, you know. And I would hope that my action figure is out there somewhere on someone's diorama getting mercilessly killed forever by Cobra. Because that would be at least somebody's getting some enjoyment out of it, because I kind of miss it. I haven't put any money towards G.I. Joe, but I'm starting to lean towards it. Anyway. The 80s. All right, let's do a couple movie reviews. 3 in total. Sounds familiar. Let's do Grown Ups 2. This won't be very long. This is terrible. This is a terrible, 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 terrible movie. The first one I kind of enjoyed, and I also understand that, you know, Happy Madison? Adam Sandler, you know, wanted to do like a working vacation, and why not? You know, what are you talking about? Spend 6 months in a resort town or a couple months in amusement parks. You shoot some scenes, you're Adam Sandler, so you can walk into any amusement park or resort and say, hey, we'll help promote your resort and or park. Just let us do crazy stuff here. Let us ride this roller coaster 60 times until we get the take we want. and then we all go party at night. You know, it's like every day they're probably filming from like sun up to noon. Maybe you need a couple night scenes, but and then you switch out the cast. You know, it's like you guys go have fun, and it's basically a working vacation. Even the first one seemed like that to some degree, but it had a decent plot. The jokes were decent. This one was kind of haphazard, reckless, made little sense, and I think that it's just, I don't know. Is it going to be like a holiday tradition? Like every summer, you guys go out and do another Grown Ups movie? God, I hope not. How many are there? Are there 3 or 4?
I think there's 2.
Okay.
But if you look up the last 10 years of Sandler movies, they're all location films.
Yeah, they're all destination films. Yeah. I guess I don't mind you working in that way. I mean, you've had your success, and if you could turn a profit from a terrible film like this, because star-studded cast, and I could understand rich people saying, "Hey, let's get all my rich friends together and go have a blast at amusement parks and the resorts and stuff like that. Film some of it and call that work." After all, my job in this role is to complain about the news and hopefully make some money at it. And the complaining about the news is something that's going to happen anyway. Just like an Adam Sandler Vacation is going to happen anyway. This is a terrible movie. Nobody should ever watch it. 1 of 13 stars. I got like 4/5 the way through this movie and I turned it off. It's redonkulous. I will do a longer review on this next one. I watched The Kill Bills. The Kill apostrophe S. I had this with the thing last week too. But look at that movie poster. I looked through a lot of Kill Bill like movie posters and stuff like that, and this is by far the best one. I know it applies more specifically to the wedding massacre, but the fact that she's got the veil on and the sword and the scene with at the church, the chapel. Great. There used to be like a real art to making a movie poster to promote a movie. And I don't know, I think a lot of it got lost. And I saw this one and that's what I thought. It's like, man, a lot of that ability to promote a movie with a single image, it takes a lot of art and skill and forethought to invoke a lot of good imagery like this. And so Kill Bill, the Kill Bills movie, I watched both of them, 2003, 2004. First of all, like Tarantino was in his prime. And I understand, like, he and Uma Thurman are probably working on what's that? Pulp Fiction together, and they made a deal. And it's like, okay, we'll take you let me keep filming your feet, taking pictures of your feet. You and I will collaborate on this Fox Force 5 character. You're thinking about expanding upon. And between the two of them, came up with a really interesting plot. And what I really like about it is it's a mishmash of a lot of genres. Of course, Tarantino has a love of 70s cinematography. I understand that, but in many ways, like 70s cinematography can be annoying, like that Quincy Jones that he kept using in the film. I understand that Tarantino likes that, but he liked it way too much. All right. And but at the same time, you got a really good kung fu story, a really good revenge story. You can even say it's a Western. You can even say it's an anime. You can even say it's a comedy because there are funny moments in it. And what's great about Tarantino's and maybe even Uma Thurman's influence in this movie is that as a kung fu and revenge movie spanning over 2 movies, maybe 3. I heard talk of a 3. No need. Bill is dead. What was my point?
It could be called Mourn Bill.
It could be Mourn Bill? Yeah, I guess so. See, you're still derailing me. What was I saying?
You were already derailed.
I know, but I want to get back to where I was. All right. What was everything like? yeah, with revenge tales like this, you have to make every confrontation like epic. And what I like about these movies is that even though you could say what you want as a conservative guy about female leads in action films, but many of the people that what's her name, Beatrix, were fighting were other female assassins, and that was cool. And so every single, like with Vivica A. Fox, you know, I don't know, it was the situation where they were in. They're fighting in the environment that they were in, and every single environment has its own features. And you know, the kids coming home from school in suburbia, and you know, and two murderous ninjas going at each other. You know, the one with Cottonmouth, you know, in Japan, that was very much like a, you know, traditional samurai movie in many ways, fighting Cottonmouth. Excellent stuff. I mean, every single fight scene was really, really good. My favorite fight scene is Beatrix versus Elle, and what happens to Elle, which is perfect. Love that. I also really love the Bud. You know, she's stalking Bud, and he just surprises her with a buckshot rock salt round, puts her down, and buries her in a grave. And she escapes, and then you're treated to this interlude of her being trained by Pai Mei, and that in itself would have been an amazing movie. All right, her training and then escaping from the grave, you know, and that final scene. This is why I think it's a comedy, because she comes running across after she escapes the grave, and she's running across the street to the diner, dust flying all over, dirt flying off of her. She comes in, may I have a drink of water, please? That's a comedic moment, and it's not like Tarantino wanted to cut it. I understand why. So I think these movies are really, really good, and it spans number one, there's tons of different weapons. Yeah, you got ninja swords, and you got guns, and you got that go-go who's using that ball on a chain. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a ninja name for that. And so there's a trank gun, there's the rock salt. I mean, because that's an assassin. Assassins would use a myriad of weapons, a large, you know, range of weapons, and be good at, you know, versed at using them all. And so I thought that the movie was incredibly accurate when it comes to how assassins work. All right. One other like comedic element is like this whole story with Buck. You know what I'm talking about? Buck is she goes through all that, beats the crap out of Buck, and steals his car keys. And what does it say on there? Pussy wagon. And you go out there, and she gets in the big ass Humvee with pussy wagon written on it. And you're like, that guy was a 100% total douche. Look at that truck, and look where he works, and don't pretend nobody didn't know what was going on. All right? But what's cool is that all of a sudden she gets into the truck, and it becomes a super vehicle. You know what I'm saying? It becomes her kit. Somebody who deserves a ride like that finally has it. You know what I mean? And I like that element of it. There's a lot of like girl elements that I do like about it. I do like the scene where she finds out she's pregnant, and that assassin comes to kill her, and she tells the girl that she's pregnant, and she's, you kidding me? And she backs off and leaves. That like girl understanding, I suppose. And she's like, congratulations. And I was thinking, when was the last time a woman got pregnant in a film and they said congratulations? That doesn't happen much anymore. I'm trying to think. There's one thing I didn't like for many years, and that was the anime scenes. I don't like anime, but it's like the origin of Oren Ishii. And it's horrific, you know, like many anime stories. It's horrific in what the horrible atrocities that are committed against people, especially in that part of the world. And so, and I hated the fact that they did it all with anime. But then I watched it again, and I thought, yeah, this involves a like 9-year-old prostitute murdering an old man. Who do you cast as a 9-year-old prostitute? And do you want to film that? So probably a good choice. Bill is an interesting character. And I think it all culminates in the third act where he starts explaining himself, and I think a lot of it has to do with this conversation about Superman. And first of all, if you are a Superman fan, you're clearly a bad guy. Anyway, but it's his take on what Superman is. Like, he's talking about Superman is this powerful godlike being on Earth, and so to blend in with us, he wears this costume of Clark Kent. And Clark Kent he's weak, he's unsure of himself. He's like, no, that's how Superman sees humanity as weak and losers. Shucks, I hope I get the girl kind of guys. And he's the only true alpha on the planet. And so that makes a person like Bill resentful. That's very much Lex Luthor thinking. And so obviously Tarantino loves comic books, and so that's all part of it. But it's also the fact that Tarantino loves comic books that helps make the film good. The fact that he likes these old-fashioned revenge tales from the 70s cinema, that's what makes the story good. The fact that he likes all these classic samurai movies, that's what makes the films good. Is he understood how to do that because he loved it. He loved it. And you know what? I love the movie. There's some things I don't like about it. The one scene where the holding the reveal on the bride's name. No reason to do that. You're bleeping it in the first movie, and in the second movie you have an absurd scene where the teacher is in a classroom with a bunch of little girls reading off names off a list. And then finally comes to Beatrix Kiddo, and Uma Thurman is there dressed like a little girl going, here. It's like, what the hell? That scene you could have cut out. QT, Q and U. So there's some things I don't like about it. Obviously, when she fights the crazy 88s, there's men in that group, and I don't think a single female assassin, no matter how greatly trained, could fight off a group of around 88 people, which are maybe 50% men, or probably more, considering how gangs work. Anyway, hard to believe that one. But still a fantastic action movie with revenge elements, and that spans a myriad of types of movies that are revenge tales. And Kill Bill 1 and 2. What did I say? 10 of 13 stars? 10 of 13 stars. I should have rethought that background. But I'm starting I'm starting to think that I'll just type something into AI for a background and see what it pops out. I didn't think about the stars when I did the background. Oh well. Let's go into the news worth knowing. Number 7. Moving on to number 8. That's how I do. Alrighty. 3 watching now. Hey everybody. Alright, so Pam Bondi announces lawsuit against Maine for refusing to ban trans athletes from girls' sports. The U.S. Justice Department announced a lawsuit against the state of Maine for its continued defiance of President Donald Trump's executive order to keep biological males out of girls' and women's sports and violations of Title IX. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the lawsuit at a press conference on Wednesday morning. It is the latest chapter in the battle between the state and Trump administration after its federal judge paused a funding freeze that was initiated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA. Bondi was joined at the press conference by Department of Education Secretary Linda McMahon, conservative activist Riley Gaines, Maine GOP State Representative Laura Libby, Maine High School girl Cassidy, and fencer Stephanie Turner, who recently drew viral attention in the issue of the trans inclusion of women's fencing with a clip of her kneeling in protest on a trans opponent. Damn. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports, Bondi said at a press conference. What they've been through is horrific. Yeah, you're discriminating against women in women's sports for being women. Huh. Don't you understand this? Fox News Digital reached out to Maine Governor Janet Mills, but there's no way any of them talked to them. Bondi added, "We want to get states to comply with us." Mills received a statement later. That's from Maine, I guess. Today is the latest expected salvo in an unprecedented campaign to pressure the state of Maine to ignore the Constitution and abandon the rule of law. This matter has never been about school sports or the protection of women and girls, as has been claimed. It is about states' rights defending the rule of law against the federal government bent on opposing its will instead of upholding the law. Federal Judge Woodcock's ruling of last Friday awarding the state temporary restraining order reinforces our position that the federal government has been acting unlawfully, statement read in part. For nearly 2 months, Maine has endured recriminations from the federal government that have targeted hungry school kids, hardworking fishermen, senior citizens. See, you're talking about different stuff. This is different stuff. We've been subject to politically motivated investigations, open and closed without discussion. You're ignoring reality. That's the problem. You know, it's like you can't. If you're in the government in North Dakota, and North Dakota rules that they start making laws is like, for example, you can't smoke tobacco in Never Never Land. And someone checks in on the state of North Dakota, so what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, we're passing a law that you can't smoke cigarettes in Neverland. But we have an argument about cigars. It's like, we can have, yes, cigars, there will be a cigar section in Never Never Land. You'd have to start thinking that these people are crazy at some point. You don't understand the difference between men and women? Seriously? You shouldn't be in office. You need to be fired.
Mandatory cigars.
What? Mandatory cigars?
As I'm saying, that would be the contrast. Mandatory cigars.
They want mandatory cigars, yeah. So not everyone wants a cigar, you know? Not everyone's in Pink Floyd. Bad reference, I know. Anyway, so it's funny that just how you're encroaching on states' rights. It's like, what are you? You're a Republican now? I think that the federal government has a right not to give like funds to a state if they don't want to abide by that ruling. But I also think that a state has the right not to abide by that ruling. I think that as a Republican, I think that each state is a experiment, and if Maine keeps going down this road, and they, I don't know, end up being more Canadian than American, it's like, I don't know what to do about that. So this stuff is insane because little girls are getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? That rises the cockles of my anger. That just like it's like throwing gasoline on the fire of my anger. Because I don't want to see little girls hurt because you let a guy into a volleyball game. You know, I think I saw on the news like there was a pool tournament and it ended up being 2 trans women being the finalists. They're like, oh, you want to sit there and talk and say, hey, you know, women could be equally as good at like games like pool or darts or something like that as men. It's simply not true. You know why they dress up like women is so they can win a pool tournament. You know what I mean? And people are like, that's not why people join sports and, you know, become trans. It's like, it absolutely the fuck is. You know what I'm saying? Riley Gaines was there is because some dude who is 6 inches taller than her and a man-sized wingspan was able to outswim her by miles. Because men and women are different. I don't know if you've noticed. So I guess that insanity is going to continue going. They might fight to the last breath, and I think that some people I've heard on this topic are right, is that, you know, these celebrities and these rich people, they have dumped so much of their, like, they've taken their kids to get hormone treatment. They've gotten their surgeries and stuff like that. And so it's either face the truth, if you face the truth, that means is like you contributed to physically harming your child, physically and mentally harming your child. And no one wants to be culpable of themselves. They don't want to face accountability for themselves, especially women. And a lot of women have been pushing this trans thing. And so nobody wants to wake up. Like Cynthia Nixon doesn't want to wake up one morning and think, boy, I really screwed my kids up. I screwed up my progeny. You know, I will have less descendants because of my mistakes. Anyway, next story. Trump administration refers New York Attorney General Letitia James for possible prosecution over allegations of mortgage fraud. New York Attorney General Letitia James has been hit with shocking allegations by the Trump administration accusing her of mortgage fraud. In the documents obtained by Fox News Channel's The Ingram Angle, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, sent a criminal referral to the Department of Justice on Tuesday accusing James of mortgage fraud. FHFA Director William Polte said in a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi that James appears to have falsified records to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable terms. There's a picture here of Pam Bondi. There's something I got to get off my chest. That woman is like 60 years old, and she is still like a 7. I'm pushing 50, and the older I got, the more I like can look at older women and say, would. And Pam Bondi at 60, and I'm just like, would. I would hook up with Pam Bondi, but it'd be like, can you show me some pictures of you in your 20s? Then we can get to it, because you could probably still see the hot chick there. I mean, the hot chick is still there. I don't know. Trump has a type, right? So, because he's older than me, and I'm sure he gets it, I'm just so sick of the Russian accent. It drives me nuts. Pulte cited, all right, aside over. Pulte cited a property in Virginia. Where? Where in Virginia? That James allegedly claimed as principal residence, and a property in New York she claimed as a 4-unit structure instead of 5, which means she was able to get a more favorable loan, a different and more favorable loan. So it's a slight to tweak to get an advantage. Probably happens every day. In response, the spokesperson for James' office said Wednesday morning that she has been focused on every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. You think this administration is weaponizing the Justice Department against its political enemies? Well, why would he target you? Why would they target you? Why would Trump care about targeting you? What did you ever do? I know a lot of people have short memories, but do you remember what she did? I don't want to read any more of this article. I want to kind of skim through the news. I like skimming through it. I feel like even when I'm watching the show back, it's like, this is boring. I mean, you guys, I hope you watch the news. Like most of you probably tuned out by now. I could check. Yep, Steve 3 still watching. What's up? All right. 2 people reportedly tasered by police at Marjorie Taylor Greene Town Hall, and 3 were arrested. Interesting times we are living in. I'm glad they got thrown out, said what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. So police forcibly escorted at least 6 people out of a town hall being held by GOP Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Tuesday night, and were forced to deploy a taser against 2 of the individuals. Reporters on the ground at the event in Georgia indicated there were at least 6 protesters escorted from the town hall within minutes of it starting. 3 of the individuals were eventually charged by police for their involvement in the disruption, including 1 for disorderly conduct, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Put your hands behind your back. A police officer can be heard in the video of the incident shared on social media by CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston, forgive me, sir. F off dash, a single dash. F off L, F off X. What do you come on? F off A. Was he Canadian? F off A. The man can be heard yelling as he disappeared off screen behind a wall before a loud bang can be heard followed by a sound of a taser. A second bang from another taser could be heard going off. It's more like a pop, isn't it? Shortly thereafter, so they tased him twice. Probably didn't hit him on the first one. Different videos. We're not going to watch the videos. From the event show a handful of others being escorted out, some leaving on their own volition, and others having literally dragged out by police. Free Garcia, one protester could be heard saying, as they were exiting in a video posted on X referring to Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who has been at the center of a deportation controversy after a federal judge said the Trump administration wrongly deported him with a group of Venezuelan gang members. He's Salvadoran, I think. And he's a gang member. I don't know. Was a mistake made? I don't know. I think people have the right to protest, but when it comes to like hearings and any like official gathering like that, there has to be a sense of decorum, in the sense that professionalism is like you can't come in there and disrupt the proceedings. I think there's actually laws on the books. They even cited when they're talking about the J6ers. It's like, they were disrupting a proceeding. So they charged them with that. But, leftist protesters, they come in and do stuff like that. And that kind of stuff never applies to them. So, I mean, it's just a matter of decorum. You have every right to protest outside. You have the you have social media in front of you, just like everybody else, and that's like the biggest pulpit in the world. I'm sorry you don't have enough followers, but neither do I. You know, but if you go to the town hall and you create a ruckus and disrupt the proceedings, you're going to get pulled out of there by officers and possibly tased if you fight them. You know, why is this so hard to understand? It's like, you know, we were watching body cams before the show, and it's like these people, you're just making it worse for yourself. You know, there are, yes, you have the freedom of speech, but if you're hammered and you got your phone in some cop's face, I have the freedom of speech, you pig, freedom of speech. And you're getting in the cop's face, spitting on him. He's like, all right, I've had enough. You get arrested. And you're like, I'm getting arrested because of First Amendment. And it's like, no, you're just drunk and stupid. Yeah. And so these low IQ people, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about a bunch of people who are not very bright, easily swayed, and worse, they're easily swayed into doing violent acts. It's like you talk about the Teslas being damaged and stuff like that. You got people in the street telling, you know, yeah, we should totally, you know, murder the president and stuff like that. You know, Elon Musk and all that. People openly talking about that. And they're very easily swayed to violence. And unfortunately, people who are violent, there's one thing that you need to do to them, and that's be violent and kind and throw them in jail until they learn you can't behave in society that way. You have every right to protest outside. You have every right to protest on social media. Disrupting a proceeding accomplishes nothing. And it makes people dislike you. Unless you're just one of these irrational people who, like, I hate Trump and Republicans and no matter what, because that's what the TV tells me to hate. They're the bad guys, so the TV says. All right. Next story. Critics blast Democrats' pathetic plan to visit alleged MS-13 gang member deported to El Salvadorian prison. So these geniuses. So many conservatives on social media were outraged over what they call the Democrats' pathetic plan to visit an El Salvadorian prison to protest the Trump administration's deportation policies. Axios reported on Tuesday that Reps Robert Garcia from California and Maxwell Frost from Florida sent a letter to the House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer from Kentucky requesting an official congressional delegation to conduct a welfare check of deported El Salvadorian and alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We were just talking about him. Supreme Court upheld lower court's order last week requiring the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release after the Trump administration admitted there was an administrative error. However, the White House has defended the deportation based upon Abrego Garcia's alleged ties to MS-13, a designated terrorist organization, and his release is up to the El Salvadorian president, Nayib Bukele. Several Democrats have attacked the Trump administration for the decision, with Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen revealing on Tuesday that he plans to travel to El Salvador himself to show solidarity with Abrego Garcia if he has not returned. Conservatives called out the Democrats for planning an elaborate international photo op in support of illegal immigrants and criminals while ignoring victims in the U.S., which is the obvious. You set yourself up for that when you do stupid stuff like this. So Washington Times columnist Tim Murtaugh declared they should go. Let the whole country see that they are more about illegal aliens than they care more about illegal aliens than they do about law-abiding Americans. There could never be a clearer example. Also, this is further proof that the grip of the extreme left has on the Democrats is increasingly tighter. There's a bunch of people commenting on Twitter. Is that journalism? Reposting other people's comments on it? I don't know. Lindsay Kornick wrote the article. So, it's funny, like, how much they care about this guy in El Salvador, this gang member in El Salvador. And it would be funny if they do go to the prison and they'll say, wow, these prisoners are really well behaved. Then they should go to a California prison, like, immediately after. Notice any differences? There's a reason why we're sending them there. It's because they can be treated like prisoners. Without people crying, oh, I was mistreated in prison. Yeah, it's prison. It's supposed to be punishment. All right. Last two stories and we're out of here. These people. Liberal outlets say dogs are actually bad for the environment. Now you've gone too far. You've crossed the line. You've crossed the line. All right, so let's see. Woof. Oh, my God. Really? Really? You start with wolf in this article? Who wrote this? Courtney O'Brien. Should have known. You know, I don't like puns, but at least try other than writing wolf. How about environmentalism has really gone to the dogs? I'd be equally as pissed. No, I wouldn't be equally as pissed. At least that implies some effort instead of just typing wolf and then going on to the next paragraph. Terrible. Mother Jones republished an article from a fellow progressive outlet, The Guardian, fellow progressive outlet, The Guardian, The Guardian, on Saturday, that argued that while dogs may be man's best friend, they're Mother Nature's villains. What? The left-wing magazine highlighted new research originally published by The Guardian that concluded dogs have extensive and multifarious environmental impacts, disturbing wildlife, polluting waterways, and contributing to carbon emissions. It's pinpointed how canines are disturbing native wildlife, particularly shorebirds. An Australian review of existing studies published in Pacific Conservation Biology analyzed dogs attack other animals, finding that it may account for the colony collapse of little penguins on Tasmania, while a study of animals taken to the Australia Zoo Wildlife Hospital found that mortality was highest after dog attacks. But this Australia and Tasmania, I think dogs that live on that continent are probably a little bit more vicious than anywhere else. Well, especially maybe the East. But I mean, they got to be. There's so much crazy stuff in Australia that you have a dog for. They fight off that kangaroo, that wallaby. Hey, get over here, mate, and kill that wallaby. He's foaming at the mouth. Or you know what? What is it? A funnel web spider? Yeah, funnel web spider bites your dog instead of you, and you're like, oh, better him than me. You know, dogs on that continent got to be tougher. You know what I mean? So anyway, in the U.S., the report continued. Studies have found that deer, foxes, and bobcats were less active in or avoid wilderness areas where dogs are allowed. It's a lot of earth. It's a lot of it. Other intel showed that insecticides from flea and tick medication killed aquatic invertebrates when they wash off into waterways. Dog feces, meanwhile, could leave a scent traces and affect soil chemistry and plant growth. The canine's carbon footprint is also significant, according to the study. 2020 study found that dry pet food industry has an environmental footprint that is twice the land area of the UK, with greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to the 60th highest emitting country. Yeah. What is wrong with you? Who cares? Anyway, let's see. The owners of furry friends weren't particularly impressed with this dog doom deep dive. That's not bad. They united in ripping the Mother Jones report on X, Twitter, with several users responding with photos of their own beloved dogs and wondering if a rival animal wrote it. Did a cat write this? Columnist Tim Carney asked. Another David Berg said institutional capture by the cat ladies continues. Anna Kasparian said, isn't there any enjoyable part of life these insufferable killjoys won't attack? She is getting hotter and hotter lately. She's kind of getting red-pilled. I think ever since she got assaulted in the city by a guy. She's like, ugh, maybe they have a point. And I always thought she was cute. She was just crazy a few years ago. Now I think she's starting to come to her senses, which is a good thing. I wish more of you would do that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Cars are cool. Dogs are cool. All right? The environment can get bent as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sacrificing cars. I am not sacrificing internal combustion engines, and I'm not getting rid of my dog. I love dogs. After all, we need some animal protection from the horses. Let's go to this last story. Don't think I've forgotten about the horses. They're always on my mind. Not always. I think about G.I. Joe sometimes too. 3 men and 1 teen facing multiple charges in Louisiana for riding horses in Walmart. All right, 4 people are facing charges in Louisiana for horsing around in a small town Walmart last week. All right, that's better than wolf, but Elizabeth Pritchett, who wrote this article, you can do better. horsing around in a small-town Walmart last week. Video that was posted on TikTok and went viral on social media showed 3 men and a teenage boy riding horses through the business in Baker, Louisiana. The incident took place on April 8th, according to local news outlet WBRZ. A separate video taken by the Walmart employees showed them entering the store, hanging around the self-checkout area for 20 seconds, then heading to the back of the store. One rider has been seen holding his phone up, filming their escapade. The Baker Police Department put out a request for information on the 4 riders. This is war, death, pestilence.
AOC was not available.
Who?
AOC was not available.
AOC wasn't available? Ooh, that's a horse joke or horse face. Maybe that's why I don't like her. It's just like instinctive, you know? Anyway. Baker Police Department put out a request for information on the 4 riders. They ultimately turned themselves in on misdemeanor charges. Country boys. Brendan Bridgewater, 24, Patrick DeRozan, 22, Mason Webb, 18, and a 16-year-old boy are all facing charges for entering and remaining after forbidden, unlawful post of criminal activity and disturbing the peace, according to the Advocate in Baton Rouge. What is that, red stick? Is that what Baton Rouge means, red stick? Huh. Yeah. Okay. It is illegal in Louisiana to post video or live stream a crime to gain notoriety or publicity. Oh, boy, I got to rethink my whole YouTube channel. Because it's in perjury? I guess I'm not making legal. I'm not legally lying. Anyway. All right, blah, blah, blah. In this video taken by the Walmart employee, one worker could be heard saying, "They aren't supposed to come in here like that." You don't say. They're going to scare the shit out of somebody. Yeah. I wasn't even there, and I'm scared. It scares the shit out of me. You know, but I mean, it's funny. I was thinking about those pylons that they have in front of the entrance to Walmart. That's to keep cars from like ramming the entrance and stuff like that. But what do you do about horses? Why? What? I mean, cars are newer than horses. Why aren't there some sort of area denial weapon that we have for horses already? Maybe I need to get on top of that and really like invent like a landmine for horses. Yeah, you do that. All right.
An equine landmine?
Equine Landmine. Shit, did we just name the show?
That is so good.
It's funny, I think we already had some earlier. I'll have to check it later. Anyway, I want to remind you again, I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com. What's up? Got some Baton Rouge, the Red Stick in French. Bloodstained pole that French explorer found on the bank of the Mississippi River. 1699, the city's present location. Historical significance reflects the vibrant culture and traditions of Louisiana.
They had to trump it up somehow. It's a bloody red pole.
We're gonna start setting up a business here. We're gonna need like is there a name for this town? What's his name? Found a stick over there. It was red.
It's got blood on it.
It's got blood on it. It's a red stick. But it's all happening in French, so it's Baton Rouge. It's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah, anyway, go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today, and you could get the last patron pack with extra surprise. Hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word if you want to send me money through Cash App. I'm on Twitter. At DNALETSAW, that's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter. And you can follow me on Instagram at SLRobbins13 on Instagrams. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.